When God whispered to Elijah, some stories of scripture thunder across the sky. Others arrive like dawn, quiet, sure, and full of detail that only patience can see. Elijah's meeting with God on Mount Horeb is that kind of story. It explains not only what happened to a weary prophet, but also how God speaks to exhausted people who still carry a calling. Before Horeb, there was Carmel. Elijah had stood alone before the nation and challenged the prophets of Baal. He rebuilt the altar, soaked the sacrifice, and prayed a few simple words. Fire fell, stones cracked, water hissed into steam, and the crowd fell face down. The people cried, "The Lord, He is God." It was victory so clear that doubt seemed impossible, and yet the very next chapter does not read like triumph. Jezebel sent a promise of death. The same prophet who faced down hundreds now ran into the wilderness, past the reach of crowds and cheers. Fear can do that. Shrink yesterday's boldness into today's retreat. Under a broom tree, Elijah asked to die. "I have had enough," he said. "Take my life." Hope, it seemed, had drained out of him. God answered with kindness that looked like ordinary care. An angel touched Elijah, not once but twice, and set bread and water beside him. "Get up and eat." Sometimes the first miracle is rest. Sometimes God's most spiritual gift is a meal, a nap, and the time to take another breath. Strengthened, Elijah travelled 40 days and nights to Horeb, the mountain of God, carrying his ache and his questions to the only place big enough to hold them. In a cave, the voice of the Lord pressed in with a question. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" It was not a trap, it was an invitation to speak honestly. Elijah did. "I have been very zealous for the Lord. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." That sentence holds three familiar weights: zeal, isolation, and fear, often found in the hearts of people who have given everything and feel they have nothing left. Then God told Elijah to stand on the mountain, for the Lord was about to pass by. A wind tore the rocks, an earthquake shook the ground, a fire burned in bright heat, but the Lord was not in the wind, nor the quake, nor the fire. After the fire came a gentle whisper. Elijah covered his face and stepped to the cave's mouth. The Almighty had drawn near in quiet. Why a whisper? Because whispers are for close distance. God was teaching his prophet that intimacy, not spectacle, heals a burned out heart. Power can win a moment. Presence restores a person. The whisper did not deny God's might. Carmel had shown that. The whisper revealed his nearness. It cut through Elijah's conclusions and offered something better than adrenaline, assurance. The question came again. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Same words, new weight. God then handed him a clear path forward. Anoint Hazael king over Aram, anoint Jehu over Israel, and anoint Elisha as prophet in his place. The whisper moved from presence to purpose, and God corrected a lonely assumption. "I reserve 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal." Elijah was not the last faithful one. He had never been alone. This is where the story becomes an explanation for us. Many of us live between Carmel and Horeb, public victories followed by private valleys. We know what it is to spend courage on a cause and wake up empty the next day. We know the fatigue that turns calling into complaint, the isolation that edits our memories until we forget the people standing with us. Elijah's path reveals how God meets us there. First, God tends to the human. Eat, sleep, walk. The scriptures honour our limits because God does. Second, God listens to the truth we are carrying even when our truth is only part of the truth. Third, God invites us into attention. Step to the mouth of the cave. Still your soul long enough to perceive more than noise. And finally, God gives assignment and perspective. He names the next obedient steps and widens the frame so we can see the company of the faithful we forgot. The whisper is not less of God, it is a different kind of gift. Winds and quakes break things open, fire purifies, but the whisper heals. It tells the prophet, the parent, the teacher, the student, the servant, I am here. Keep walking, your work is not over, your isolation is not final, your fear is not king. In practical terms, how do we live by the whisper? We create pockets of quiet where God can be heard without shouting over our schedules. We let Scripture set the tone so our feelings do not become our only narrators. We practice honest prayer that names our fatigue as clearly as our faith. We stay with wise community so our conclusion, I alone am left, can be lovingly challenged. We obey the next small step, trusting that clarity often follows obedience rather than precedes it. If this episode serves you, please like the podcast, leave a thoughtful comment, share it with someone who needs courage today, and subscribe so you won't miss what's next. Your support helps this message reach more listeners who are learning to hear God in the quiet. After Horeb, Elijah did not return as a different personality. He returned as a restored person. He moved toward people again, found Elisha at a field, threw his cloak over him, and began a friendship that would carry the work beyond Elijah's lifetime. The whisper had recalibrated the prophet's inner world so he could re-enter the outer one with steadier steps. Notice what God did not do. He did not make Jezebel vanish. He made Elijah ready. Sometimes God does not remove the storm because he is busy rebuilding the sailor. The narrative also guards us from chasing constant spectacle. If we demand wind, quakes, and fire, we may miss the God who is speaking in the page of Scripture we skim past, the silence we refuse, the counsel we avoid, the meal and sleep we treat as unspiritual. Horeb teaches that holy things are often quiet things. Sacredness is not measured by volume. There is mercy in how gently God corrects Elijah. He does not crush him for exaggerating his loneliness. He answers it. He does not mock his fear. He gives him a path where courage can walk forward one assignment at a time. God's corrections come wrapped as care. The whisper that names reality also restores dignity. Consider your own cave. Maybe you have served faithfully and wonder why your soul feels thin. Maybe discouragement has narrowed your vision until you cannot see the 7,000 around you. The God of Elijah meets you where you are, not where you pretend to be. He welcomes candor, feeds the body, steadies the mind, and then asks you to step to the edge of attention so you can hear again. You do not need to manufacture a miracle. You need to make room for a whisper. What might that look like this week? Rise a few minutes earlier and let a psalm tune your language. Take a slow walk without your headphones and ask one honest question. Lord, what am I doing here? Write down what surfaces. Tell a trusted friend the sentence you have been repeating in your head, and let them answer with the truth you can't speak yet. And when the quiet answer comes, because it will, treat it as assignment, not sentiment. Do the next obedient thing. Elijah's story keeps going. He mentors Elisha, confronts kings, and lives the rest of his days inside the long faithfulness his calling requires. One day, a chariot of fire and a whirlwind carry him away. A reminder that the God who whispers is free to thunder when he chooses. But glory did not arrive to rescue a collapse. It arrived to conclude a life walked in obedience, one steady step at a time. The explanation hidden in this narrative is simple enough to memorize. God is present even when the loud things are empty. God is patient even when our hearts are panicked. God is precise, giving us steps when we bring him our stories. He is the Lord on Carmel, yes, but he is also the Lord in the cave, the Lord in the kitchen with fresh bread, the Lord in the long walk, the Lord at the edge of the cave telling a faithful servant to listen. So breathe, receive the human mercies you need, refuse the lie of isolation, step to the mouth of attention, and listen. The whisper you are waiting for is already near. The Lord who met Elijah in quiet still draws close to the tired, the faithful, the uncertain, people like us who dare to believe that intimacy with God can carry us through what power alone cannot. When God whispered to Elijah, he did not just comfort a man, he recommissioned a life. May he do the same in us, one quiet word at a time. 4 practices help us keep company with the whisper. Silence. Turn down the inner noise until attention returns. Sit still for a few quiet breaths before you speak to God. Scripture. Let a psalm or a gospel set your language so feelings don't run the story alone. Small obediences. Elijah did not get a map, he got next steps. Do today's clear assignment and let clarity meet you on the road. Solidarity. Find your 7,000. Refuse the lie of isolation. Courage multiplies in community. Picture Elijah at the cave's edge. Wind spent, ground settled, embers dim. The quiet holds, and within it God. The whisper carries more than comfort. It carries presence and purpose. Consent to it with simple honesty. Here I am. Then walk it out. Steady, human, faithful. May your road from Carmel to Horeb and back be marked by this confidence. The Lord who thunders also whispers, and his nearness is strength enough for the next step.